Genesis chapter 5, 28 through 29. Lamech lived 182 years and became the father of a son. Now he called his name Noah, saying, "This one will give us rest from our work and from the toil of our hands arising from the ground which the Lord has cursed." Genesis 6, 9 through 12. These are the records of the generations of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless in his time. Noah walked with God. Genesis 7, 1 through 7. Then the Lord said to Noah, "Enter the ark, you and all your household, for you alone I have seen to be righteous before me in this time. You shall take with you every clean animal by sevens, a male and a female, and of the animals that are not clean, 2, a male and a female. Also the birds of the sky by sevens, male and female, to keep offspring alive on the face of all the earth. For after 7 more days I will send rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and I will blot out from the face of the land every living thing that I have made." Noah did according to all that the Lord had commanded him. Now Noah was 600 years old when the flood of water came upon the earth. Then Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him entered the ark because of the water of the flood. Genesis chapter 8, verse 1. But God remembered Noah and all the beasts and all the cattle that were with him in the ark. And God caused a wind to pass over the earth, and the water subsided. Genesis 8, verse 20 through 21. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and took of every clean animal and of every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. The Lord smelled the soothing aroma, and the Lord said to himself, "I will never again curse the ground on account of man, for the intent of man's heart is evil from his youth, and I will never again destroy every living thing as I have done." Genesis chapter 9, verses 1 through 7. And God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. The fear of you and the terror of you will be on every beast of the earth and on every bird of the sky. With everything that creeps on the ground and all the fish of the sea, into your hand they are given. Every moving thing that is alive shall be food for you. I give all to you as I gave the green plant. Only you shall not eat flesh with its life, that is, its blood." First, let's deal with the clean and unclean animals. Noah was clearly instructed to take sets of clean animals and sets of unclean animals onto the ark. Now, at this time, according to Scripture, we aren't told anything other than human beings at this point were eating plants. They weren't eating animals that we know of, they were eating plant life. And so the clean and unclean restrictions would not have applied to food before the flood. Also, the Mosaic Law has not been given yet. Obviously so, and we see evidence of this when Cain and Abel are bringing their sacrifices. They're bringing their sacrifices directly to God. There is no mediator there that they're talking to, as far as, and what I mean by that is there's not a priest. Cain and Abel walk up to most likely an altar that was built there to the Lord. Again, there are no instructions about this being the tabernacle, an inner room. There's nothing about a curtain. There's nothing about ceremonial cleaning rituals before they approach. They simply bring their sacrifices directly to God at the altar. Also, as far as clean and unclean, like I just said, sacrifices were being made. So there's a separation from God that happened at the fall of man in the garden. And there are sacrifices we talked about in week 3 of Sinking No Longer, that these sacrifices are now bringing hope. There is hope for reconciliation. God talks directly to Cain and says, you know what to do. Do well, or sin is crouching at your door. So there's hope that there will be reconciliation. There's hope that they still can come before God, and someday they will be clean and reconciled. So these clean and unclean animals obviously are being used for sacrifice, but it's not a food issue. Then we see that Noah gets off the ark, and he is told by God that he can now eat everything. And so one of the ways when I was in Hebrew Roots that I would explain this is that, well, obviously he can't eat everything. He's not going to eat a rock. He's not going to eat an animal that's poisonous or venomous that's going to kill him within 20 minutes of eating it. He isn't going to sit down and chew on briar thorns. Obviously, he cannot eat everything. And so I would say, because food was clearly defined for us, though not until the Mosaic Law for the Israelites for that time, that it would be obvious that when God tells Noah that he can eat everything, that actually what that means is everything that has been defined as food. So Noah would instantly know that these were just clean animals that he could eat. That is nowhere in Scripture. So that is putting my narrative into Scripture and making it say what I want to say. And it just isn't there. It isn't true. Noah could eat everything. You may eat everything. Further evidence for this is found in Genesis chapter 9, verses 2 through 4. Every animal will be afraid of mankind. Every animal. So this is reiterated twice. The only restriction given was lifeblood. There was no instruction given for eating clean or unclean animals. Let's go back to Genesis 5:29 because this is the main point I want to point out to you here. Now he called his name Noah, saying, "This one will give us rest from our work and the pain of our hands arising from the ground which Yahweh has cursed." So we know the ground was cursed. Adam and Eve were forced to leave the garden, and the land outside the garden was nothing like the land in the garden. Nothing like it at all. So now they're having to toil the land for their food. So I can imagine how hard it would be to toil the land and plant the seed, and then if there's no rain or the crop is not good, you're foraging for edible weeds, you know. And so what's interesting is when Noah gets off the ark and God says, now you can eat everything, you can eat animals, that is an incredible blessing, because even though shepherding and animal care is challenging, you're not having to plow the field and do all these things because your entire survival and diet depends on plants alone. Noah is going to give rest from the work. Also, coming through the line of Noah is Christ, and eventually Christ will come and give us rest from works. So, pretty cool.